I'm joined by Katerina again. Hello, Katerina.
Hello.
Starting in Japan, where the central bank has revealed its plan of action for the next few months.
Yeah, this was a much anticipated report for the world's third biggest economy. And as many analysts predicted, the central bank has chosen if it ain't broke, don't fix it approach with regards to their monetary policy. They're going to keep on their bond buying program at the same rate, which is 7.5 trillion yen's worth of bonds per month. That equates to about 60 billion euros. Now, it also said that in all, it was a far rosier picture with regards to the country's economy at the moment. They saw a fall in the jobless rate to its lowest level for 4.5 years. And at the same time, we've just heard that the Japanese government say they're going to slash their public spending by $83 billion over the next 2 years in order to sort of further balance their books. So there should be some sort of quite happy investors in Japan at the moment.
Some positive data out of China too.
Yeah, and this will really be welcome news. Many feared the impact both in Asia and globally of a Chinese slowdown. But customs data there saw a rise in the value of exports for the first time, in the month of July, up 5.1% from the same time last year. Now, this is a lot better than many analysts expected. And interesting to note, though, that within that rise of 5.1%, we saw exports to the US from China grow, but exports to the Europe actually fell. So some interesting figures within that number there.
And how are the markets reacting to all of that?
Well, it's been quite a mixed morning with regards to the Japanese Nikkei. You would expect it to be buoyant after that news, but in fact it's now down 1.5%. Investors perhaps a little bit nervous about the impact a rosier picture economically might have on the value of the currency, but it's such a volatile market at the minute, it is difficult to pin down quite what's going on there. And more what you would expect from the Shanghai Composite, posting gains there of about 0.5%. OK, well, we just heard there about good trade figures for China, but back in France, the government says the rise in export levels here last month indicate the green shoots of a recovery. France's trade deficit is at its narrowest level in 2 years. Rosalie El Silva looks at the French companies making the most of its export potential.
In the heart of this sleepy French village, a success story. Almost shut down 20 years ago, this sock factory now produces 5 million pairs of socks every year. 1 million of those foreign exports. France's mid-year foreign trade figures were announced Wednesday, and the results are encouraging. Standing at just below 30 billion euros, the first time in 2 years that the deficit's above the symbolic 30 billion threshold. Shrinking by 16% in the first half of the year compared to the same period in 2012. But economists are quick to point out that this improvement is mainly due to a decline in imports, not necessarily a good sign, exports having only slightly increased at 0.5%. But Bleu Forêt is bucking the trend, accomplishing a remarkable feat, selling its socks to the Chinese market, in a country that produces 1 in 3 socks sold around the world, and where an entire town is dedicated to only making socks. The secret of Bleu Forêt's foreign success? Going high-end, selling its socks up to 40 euros a pair, 3 times more expensive than in France.
It's a kind of status symbol, being a part of a class that is able to offer itself luxury products.
Big ambitions for this company that's aiming for half of its turnover to be international.
OK, well, time now to look at some companies' news. And there's been a big product recall at car maker Toyota. They've called back more than 300,000 Tacoma trucks due to concerns about seatbelt malfunctions. A faulty screw part's been found in models produced between 2004 and 2011. The Japanese company has seen numerous recalls over the past few months. More than 200,000 hybrid vehicles were brought back to their plants in June.
Good results at broadcaster Time Warner. Profits have jumped 87% over the past 3 months. It posted a $460 million gain. The success was down to big demand for programs on its HBO channel, including the original series Game of Thrones.
And discount deals website Groupon has a new man at the helm 5 months after sacking the site's founder. Eric Lefstowski was acting CEO, but he'll now take on the role permanently. Shares jumped 20% in post-trade at the news, helped by slightly better than expected second quarter profits too.
In the US, yet another bank is under the scrutiny of the government.
Yes, it is. Now, we heard on Wednesday that Bank of America was coming under fire by regulators, but today it's JP Morgan who are suffering the same fate. This time it's the Justice Department who've announced a criminal probe into the sale of mortgage-backed securities between 2005 and 2008. The bank has yet to comment on whether it acted irresponsibly when it sold these products to investors, but it's sort of yet another example of the US government and financial regulators cracking down on those they say were responsible for the banking crisis in 2008.
Okay, that's all we've got time for on business. Thank you very much, Katerina. It's time now for Focus.